Hello and welcome to We Random episode 72, where Brian and I get together and we just talk about whatever random stuff comes up on that magical wheel over there. Actually, it's over there. Brian will tell you a little bit more about that. But first, Brian, do you know how to fix a broken pumpkin?
How do you fix a broken pumpkin, Skonzii?
With a pumpkin patch, of course. That's right. More after this.
Almost Qualified Productions. Your dose of semi-coherent babbling.
Welcome to We Random, episode 72. I'm Landmark. Somewhere out there, Skonzii. Say hello to our wonderful people, Skonzii.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
So, welcome back to We Random. On We Random, what we do here is we have a Wheel of Doom. It's filled with all the topics that we want to talk about. We're going to spin that wheel. We're going to see what comes up. And if you're lucky, we're going to get mad online. But first, before we get mad online, we are going to refresh a couple things. So, Skonzii, I did get a chance to listen to the podcast last week with Ellie. It was a wonderful episode. I would recommend anyone who has missed that to go back and do it. But before we get started, I have a positive point that I want to bring up. But before I do that, do you have any wonderful words of wisdom for our loyal listeners or viewers today?
You know, my words of wisdom today are make sure you tell somebody this week how much they mean to you. Ideally, somebody that means a lot to you. Don't be like going up to some stranger in the street and go, hey, you don't mean shit to me, because that kind of defeats the purpose.
I mean, so what you're saying is don't be Will Smith?
That's, oh, God. We might get to Will later.
All right, so that makes sense. Now, I have a positive point, which is a topic of positivity or artifact of hope. There is a website, NeverAlone.love. This was created by Deepak Chopra and his team. This website includes a chat bot named Pee-wee, who is named after an artist who died by suicide. Pee-wee is an ethical AI alternative for teens and anyone who is seeking mental health support to talk to. Chopra says that the team has found that teens in particular feel more comfortable talking to an ethical AI instead of a human because they don't feel judged. Chopra says that 11 million conversations with Pee-wee have happened and approximately 6,000 suicide attempts may have been de-escalated by having individuals talk with Pee-wee. So I thought that this was really cool. Like, I even tested it out because I'm curious, right? So I went and I started a chat with the thing, and I just think any resource that someone has for their own mental health is better than having no resource at all, because that's one thing that in the clinical mental health community is talked about a lot is, the biggest thing when it comes to suicide is to help someone have more resources than they have pain, right? Because when their pain exceeds their resources, that is where the danger zone is at.
Yeah, no, I think this is a great point. Anything that can help somebody, especially get over that hump if you're in kind of that darkest area, right? Sometimes that's what it takes. And sometimes that it's more than a hump, right? Sometimes it's an absolute pit of despair and you're stuck and there's no way out that you can find. And sometimes you more than that. But, to your point, having any kind of resource is a step in the right direction. So, yeah, I think it's a cool idea.
Awesome. So, more mental health talk from us here at We Random. We appreciate you. If you're listening, just know that we believe that you are valuable. And now, with all of that positivity out of the way, let's get mad, Christopher. Let's do it.
All right, let's spin the wheel, see what we get. Maybe it's a good topic. I think do we have any good topics?
I mean, a lot of these topics I felt like were pretty good, except for whatever probably just came up.
Well, what came up is Lockdown Legacy.
Oh, Oh, okay. Well,
This is the one
I
that
don't.
I
I
actually
don't.
left off, and then you added it back in.
I sure did. So, Sophie Hagen, who is a comedian and journalist apparently, writes that during a late night mid pandemic Zoom call with a friend, they admitted to each other that they were quite enjoying lockdown. Not necessarily the deaths and government mismanagement of the situation, but being able to feel lighter, more confident, and feeling less judged. Now, in this situation, these two individuals identify themselves as, quote, fat. So please don't come and cancel me because I've called someone fat. In the article, they refer to themselves as fat. So the article talks about the fact that things that large people have to experience, such as needing to squeeze into small chairs, small stalls, small booths, or small spaces, all of those things were eliminated because the world has shut down. Other things that were eliminated included being yelled at by strangers in public or being ostracized in public for your size or things like that. So, Hagen writes that when many fat people experienced what it was like to not be abused, it was nice. And Hagen is hoping that our society enters a new reality as we come out of the pandemic, where we take better care of each other, regardless of the bodies in which we exist. So I looked at this from not that lens, but from the disability lens, which in some ways those are related concepts. But I thought that this was really interesting, and that's why I added this back in, because the pandemic has changed so many things. Because pre-pandemic, our world, at least here in America, was set up to be, you are able-bodied, you can do whatever we're asking you to do, right? But the pandemic had to make people change that, whether that's having bigger and more accommodating spaces, having menus and things online where people don't actually have to interact with anyone or read a board where somebody goes, hey, the food's up there. You can see what's up there. Why are you asking me what's up there? Because I can't fucking see it. That's why. Anyway, before I get on my soapbox, what were you going to say about this article, Scott?
So we finished the positive point, right? That's done. Okay, I think it's done. So nothing's gonna change. It's not like we're gonna come out of the pandemic and all of a sudden people are not gonna be assholes. That's not how this works. Just to get that out of the way. But I think they bring up a lot of interesting points here, and I think this was an article that I initially had added to our list of stuff to consider for the week. It's, if you're not a fat person, you don't know what it's like in the world. You get people stare at you, people say things, people, you can't fit into certain places. Like anytime I go anywhere because of my size, I think about, is this something that's built for me? Is this something that I can use? Can I, did the person who created this whatever have me in mind when they created it? Of course not. So is it going to be safe for me to sit there or stand there or do that? I walked into a bar once and I saw somebody and read his lips, and why I was looking at this individual, I don't know. He said to the person next to him, how do you get that fat? Imagine how the fuck I felt. And imagine what I said to that individual after he said that. That was a different story. But these are things that are just part of everyday life for certain people. And, Brian has his own issues that are different than what I have, but the pandemic kind of wiped all that out in a lot of ways. I don't have to feel that anxiety and that worry. I don't have to worry about somebody staring at me when I'm at, going into a store or whatnot. I don't have to worry about, does the restaurant have seats with arms on it? Because if it does, I'm probably not going to fit into it or not fit into it comfortably. There's so many different things that impact. And you know what? I'm not asking for someone to feel sorry for me, but those are things that are part of my life in the outside world. And I haven't had to deal with any of that because I've been here and I'm not impacted by it because of that. So yeah, I think there's a lot of things that this impacts. And I love the positive approach of, hey, maybe when we come out of this, people are going to care more. But I don't know if this Sophie Hagen was around during the pandemic. Maybe she just got beamed down from outer space. But Like, there was millions of people who were raising a fit about wearing a freaking mask to try to keep people from dying. So if you really think that they're not going to care that we're fat, Sophie, I'm sorry, but they are. I appreciate your positive outlook, but that ain't going to change.
Well, and I obviously am not skinny by any means, so I definitely relate to a lot of this as well. It's kind of the joke, like when we were Brewers season ticket holders, and they're like, "Great, we're giving away T-shirts." I'm like, "Cool, another extra large."
Another T-shirt for my brother. Great, congratulations.
Yeah, it's like, who do I know that wears a size large or an extra large? And it's like, when I go shopping, yep, I know they're only going to have 2X shirts. Like, the funny part is I will literally go. So, true story. Like, when I go to Wave games, I'll literally go to the team store first thing. Because sometimes they have shirts in my size. And that's why you will see me on this podcast in Wave apparel every day that I don't have to wear the sweater because I came directly to this podcast from work. But it's that thing, but I really relate to this from the disability lens. So those of you who know me know that I am blind, right? So there are so many things in this world that are set up for the sighted person, whether that is restaurants, bars, clubs, like work environments, all of these things. And I was able to, over this past 2 years, set up an environment that works for me. Like, my work setup is perfect. My technology setup is perfect. The things that I have to do, people aren't judging me. They're like, "Why are you wearing this weird helmet? What are you doing?" Right? Like, I do what I need to do to be successful at my job. And there are so many things, returning into the world that are a challenge for a sighted person. Like, I had a experience a couple weeks ago that was honestly awful. And, it was like I asked somebody for help and they were like, but that's a whole other story. So I get it.
Yeah, I like the positive spin that they try to put on this, and I wish that were the case. But the truth of the matter is, there's a lot of people who really enjoyed the fact that things changed the way that they did, and are not excited about things changing back to something resembling what they used to be. And I think we have to understand that and accept that. I'm spinning the wheel, B.
Do it.
That wasn't necessarily bad.
No.
This one. Free speech problem. It's really, I'll be honest, it was really just the first paragraph. That's all I cared about on this one. Because then I kind of faded off on the rest of it.
Pretty much. So, a New York Times op-ed says that Americans are losing hold of the fundamental right as citizens of a free country, the right to speak their minds and voice their opinions in public without fear of being shamed or shunned. So basically, the article talks about how some of this has come about because our politicians are stuck in this whole fight over cancel culture and embracing kind of more extreme views of censorship, and basically that people are fearing that they cannot speak to their full potential. Now, thoughts about this, but my thoughts aren't important right now, Skonzii. I want to know what your thoughts are, and then I will share my thoughts, unless you want me to share my thoughts first.
No, I'll go ahead. I'm just going to give everybody a little bit of a volume warning. So I want to reread that first paragraph again. This is the first paragraph of the story. For all the tolerance enlightenment that modern society claims, a New York Times op-ed, oh wait, I think you added some of that, says Americans are losing hold of a fundamental right as citizens of a free country, the right to speak their mind and voice their opinions in public without fear of being shamed or shunned. Where the fuck did they come up with that shit? That is not in the Constitution. It doesn't say that anywhere. Like, it says that you have the right to free speech. You have a right for the government to not infringe on your ability to speak. That's it. It don't say nothing about being shamed or shunned. That's always been part of it. If you say something stupid, guess what? Somebody's going to call you out for being a fucking idiot. That's just how it works. When I say stupid shit on here, y'all don't let me get away with it. You say, "Yo, you're an idiot, Skonzii. Stop saying that crap." That's what you say. And I appreciate that. Not really, but that's what happens in the world, right? So the fact that this is how they started this article, like at that point, it's like obviously this is a garbage bullshit article. On top of that, there isn't even an author. It is the New York Times editorial staff. Like nobody even wanted to put their fucking name on this article. That's how stupid it is. Like, and then they go into cancel culture, right? And I get it. I understand that this cancel culture is a stupid name, right? It's a catchphrase. I hate catchphrases. And they bring up some fair points, but the thing is, it's not, we've talked about this a million times. It's not cancel culture. It's accountability culture. If you say something or do something horribly wrong, you're going to get called out on it. And it may impact your livelihood. It may impact, your standing in the world. It may impact, your commercial rights or whatever the case may be. And it probably should. So why are we freaking out about this? This whole article was just stupid.
Oh, I know why we're freaking out about it. And you kind of took a little bit of my thunder, but do you know who really isn't able to speak for themselves freely and has never really been able to speak freely for themselves in this country?
Who?
Women. And do you know why? Because look at fucking Deshaun Watson. He's been accused of doing something with 22 some women. This man's got a guaranteed contract, right? Like, we're looking at all the stuff going down in Florida and Texas and all these places with transgender and gay and the LGBTQ community. These people aren't able to speak freely and openly about their experience. Hell, there are states that are outlawing talking about gender identity. So,
by the way, the Florida bill did get passed, by the way. So
it did.
So
yes.
that one's live. So that's great.
So, like, the whole thing about this is exactly what you said, and that was going to be my entire point of this is the Constitution says that the government cannot infringe upon your right of free speech. Now, these laws, in theory, are infringing on some people's rights to free speech, but that's a whole other conversation, and I'm not a lawyer. Right?
Well, and that's the whole thing, and the article kind of touches on that, right? So generally what you see is on the left, people get outraged when somebody says or does something really stupid, and then that's when it kind of things get brought up into a fever pitch, right? So Dave Chappelle talks trash about fucking transgender people, shows that he's homophobic, that he's transphobic, and people rise up and say, this is a problem, we need to stand up to this. Maybe Dave Chappelle shouldn't be given billions of dollars or whatever to do comedy shows. That's generally how the left side of things come up. On the right, these motherfuckers pass laws that you can't say things. Like, I'm sorry, and I know that I'm biased, but like one of those is a little bit worse than the other, right? One group is saying, we don't like this, so you cannot talk about it. It cannot exist anymore. We're going to pass laws that you are not allowed to talk about this. And the other side is saying, hey, you said something or did something, you're an asshole. We want to make sure you're accountable for that. These are two completely different things, man.
Yeah, but like that's the whole thing. So the thing about free speech, again, the whole concept of free speech has always been you can say what you want, but saying what you want does not come without the potential of consequence, right? That consequence can't necessarily come from the government. The government can't be like, oh, well, you can't say that.
Well, they can now because we're passing laws that ban speech.
Right. Right, but that's kind of the intent, right? Is that, okay, the government can't tell you that you can't do that, but your employer can, your friends and family can. If you're out there saying stupid stuff and your friends don't want to be friends with you anymore, that's your problem. That's not their problem.
Yeah, so I'm gonna button this up really quick and just say that free speech basically is saying, like, you have the ability to say what you want to say, unless you're in Florida. But you might get smacked upside the face for saying it. All right, I'm spinning the wheel.
Oh, I thought you were going to play the "That Makes Me Sad" drop.
Oh, no. Speaking of I feel sad, let's talk about the Packers.
Oh, okay. So we're talking about those Green Bay Packers. So a lot has happened since the two of us last got together.
Yep.
Devontae Adams is no longer a Packer, so that is something that happened. He has been traded to the Las Vegas Raiders for 2 prime draft picks, whatever that means.
Which is kind of sad because he's already probably got a drinking problem and 3, DUIs, and He's on the verge of wrecking his car and killing somebody. So that's unfortunate.
Well, So then, in addition to that, we also have Aaron Rodgers is back.
He
So
is.
everyone's favorite friend, Aaron Rodgers, has re-signed with the Green Bay Packers.
I just want to interrupt really quick. He is not everybody's favorite. In fact, there was an article we had a couple weeks ago that we did not get to that I believe he was officially voted the least favorite player or the most hated player in the NFL. So definitely not everybody's favorite. Yeah. Please continue.
Well, So, other transactions. The Packers cut Zadarius Smith, but re-signed several of their own, including Devondre Campbell, Rasul Douglas, and Robert Tonyan. So, heading into the NFL draft, Skonzii, how are you feeling about the old Green Bay Packers here?
They fucking suck. We haven't used that drop in a while. I had to do it.
We haven't used any of our drops in a while.
That's true. Obviously Devontae's a huge, huge loss, especially because none of their other receivers are worth a damn. And then one of the other guys who, again, or a couple of the guys who, again, really weren't worth a damn, but at least you knew what they were. Like whatever little bit of a damn they were worth, you kind of knew about it. Now they're gone. So who do we even have left? Lazard and that rookie dude, whatever his name is from Clemson or wherever.
Lazard, Cobb, Rodgers,
and get out of here.
Hey, Cobb's back.
So that's the biggest thing, right? There's no weapons there. But they have two starting caliber running backs. Getting Tonyan back is huge. I don't know when he's going to be able to play, but getting him back is huge because that's basically another receiver, right?
Yep.
But they need help. They need receivers, period. Like they should be out there looking for anybody who has, half of a heartbeat on the free agent line and trying to get somebody out there and drafting at least 2 or 3 wide receivers and hoping that somebody hits, because not having anybody for Rodgers to throw to is going to be a problem. So that's the big thing.
Yeah.
I think losing Zadarius Smith was a big blow. Like I have a lot of issues with that. But I love that we re-signed Campbell and Douglas. I think they were really good last year. They really helped our defense. So I like that. I just feel like we got no pass rush and we got no one to catch the ball. And that concerns me.
Well, and I feel okay about the pass rush because they still have Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary has been fine. And then they signed another defensive tackle. It's really the offensive side of the ball for me that's lagging a little bit behind. But some of this is we'll just kind of have to see how the draft shakes out too, because again, like the whole NFL is like in flux right now. We had like the whole quarterback musical chairs where it's like, all right, now there's like 7 horrible quarterbacks that all play for new teams and they're still going to be bad, but it'll be interesting. There's been a lot of hype for them to draft one of these wide receivers or 2 of these wide receivers, but knowing them, they'll draft like a fullback and like a punter or something.
Another backup quarterback. Right. So I don't know. We'll see. I am very, very not happy with the receiver core right now. Like this this is not a receiver core that you're going to take to the Super Bowl. It's just not.
Right.
So they need to do something there.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Well, we'll see. The draft is coming up.
It is. Let's spin the old wheel and play catch.
Play catch. Now, this is, like, in some ways a good story, but also a sad story.
It is. Kind of both.
So, it's kind of both. A Missouri father has a unique New Year's resolution he's trying to follow through on in 2022. On New Year's Eve 2021, it had been 1 year and 107 days since Dan Bryan's youngest son, Ethan, was killed in a car accident on his way home from a high school baseball practice. To remember Ethan, Dan made a pledge to play catch 365 times in 2022, 1 connection for each day on the calendar, 1 baseball memory for every day of the year. Dan started on New Year's Day playing catch with Ethan's best friend who had been a passenger in the car. Every day, Dan refreshes an old connection or makes a new one, whether that be playing catch with his pastor, a local baseball coach, or another local father who has lost a child. So I thought that this was kind of a neat article because it's a good way for this man to kind of keep the baseball tradition alive in the memory of his son. I thought it was kind of unique.
Yeah, I think it's a cool story. You know, we talk about all kinds of, I don't want to say the important stories when it comes to sports, but like the who's doing what and how they're doing and blah blah blah. But this is a story about a way that sports can touch your soul in a lot of ways, right? And that's some of the stuff that's part of the reason why I love sports so much. And I think this is a very cool thing that he's doing to try to help keep his son's memory alive, both for him and for other people. He kind of talked about it in the article where by doing something that his son loved, maybe it will help him keep those memories alive longer, or help him remember other things that he may have lost along the way. It's a cool story, and it's kind of based around sports, but it's really about love, and it's about the people in your life and doing what you need to make sure that those people are taken care of or remembered, or they remain a part of your life. It's a cool story.
Yep. Yeah, and it's about like taking that step to like make connections and to keep those connections alive.
Yeah, one of the things I thought was really cool is as he's playing catch with these individuals, he's telling stories of his son. So it's kind of a way of helping his son kind of live on and introducing him to new people that he otherwise hadn't or would never get a chance to meet. So, yeah, it's a cool story.
Cool.
All right, let's spin it and get to a story that is not as cool and will make us yell.
Yay!
We're gonna kidnap some people. B.
All right, so before you answer that call that says potential spam, you might want to listen to this story.
Yeah, this is an interesting
Virtual
one.
kidnapping calls, like any other telemarketing pitch, are essentially a numbers game. Law enforcement authorities say there may be 100 phone calls that are total failures, but if one is successful, that could pay off for a criminal. Even the most tech-savvy people can be had. Criminals start with a selected area code and then methodically work their way through the possible 9-digit combinations of local phone numbers. For criminals, it is not enough to just get a potential victim to pick up. Virtual kidnapping is a form of hypnosis. The kidnappers need you to fall under their spell. In hacker terms, they are social engineers, dispassionately rewiring your reactions by psychologically manipulating you. That's why they start with an emotional gut punch that's almost impossible to ignore. A recording of a child crying for help. So what this article was about a couple of different people who had actually been like virtually kidnapped, as far as like they were victims of this, and it kind of told their stories and what happened. And typically what happened is they pick up this unsolicited call, and then the one guy, like, they said, hey, we've got your daughter, and they like played this recording, and like he freaks out, and he like goes to the bank and like gets the money, and like even though like everybody's trying to tell him like, oh, your daughter's fine, like he's just not listening. And then there was another one where there were people like literally calling from prison in Mexico with like burner phones, like getting people to like drop off money to this person in Texas. Like, this is crazy. Like, this is the old like email chain of like, I need you to wire me money so that I can wire you your $25 million, but like on steroids, dude. Like, I thought this was cool, especially for you, like as an information security aficionado, to like look at this and read this and be like, whoa, dude, like this is crazy.
Yeah, dude. Everyone's looking for a quick buck, right? Like, nobody wants to get a fucking job. They want to try to scam people out of their stuff or steal stuff from other people, which irritates me beyond no end. Current or recent happenings notwithstanding. But yeah, like, this is it's insane. Like the way that they do this, and they're just preying on these people's reactions, right? Their emotions. That, oh my God, that's my daughter. And because it hits so hard, It's you know, the old Mike Tyson quote, like everybody has a big mouth till they get punched in the face. That's kind of what this is.
Yep.
Like somebody can be the one person they're talking about is like an IT kind of guy, and he does a pretty good job of managing his information security, but he got punched in the face. Yep. He got a call and it says, "Hey, we've got your daughter," and he hears a female voice screaming and crying on the phone. And that's it. He's punched in the face. Now I'm doing whatever you want me to do. And that's what they do, right? That's how they're pushy. They know how to push people's buttons, and they get you to go where they want you to go. And it's sickening that people are out there doing this. Like I could go on and on about how much this makes me sick to my stomach. But again, it just reemphasizes the point that we all need to be on top of our game as much as we can be. Yeah. And you know, I've been getting a bunch of, somehow somebody got my number over the course of the last week or so, because now I'm getting a bunch of spam text messages and a couple spam calls. So like, I'm not clicking on any of the links that these idiots are sending me, but there's people who will, because they do a pretty good job of making it look like it's legitimate. And we just have to be on top of our game. That's the biggest thing. And that's why I preach about it anytime I get a chance, because people need to be aware. You have to be careful. You have to be cautious.
Well, and it's that, but it's even giving like such those like micro details about yourself, right? Like one of the stories was like, oh, you know, these two people were in Mexico and they're like literally in the same hotel room as each other, but then they let the folks like split them up by like playing this little game of, okay, so I need you to go downstairs and get in this green taxi. And because they're in Mexico, they don't know that like every taxi in Mexico is a green taxi, right? Like, but they thought that they were being watched because the guy goes downstairs and he's like, oh crap, it's a green taxi, right? Like, and then the wife, like, they're like, oh, we need you to go check into this other hotel and then like throw your phone in the toilet. So then like now they don't have a way to communicate with each other. Right. Or like this guy, they're like, when it says, oh, you know, I've got your daughter, like don't blurt out your daughter's name, because then they have your daughter's name and they have your phone number. They have your daughter's name. They can go to Google and figure out that, you know, your name is whatever and you live on Terrace Court and you work at Home Depot, right? Like, this is the kind of stuff that is so important about giving out these little details. People can piece together your entire life if they want to.
Dude, there are so many different places out there that have all of our information, right? Like we're giving it away for free on Facebook and Twitter and wherever, right? And all that stuff can be gathered for a pretty inexpensive amount of money or time or whatever the heck it takes. So yeah, got to be careful. We got to guide to guide our control our stuff and be very protective of our information.
Yep. So block those numbers, except for mine, because apparently sometimes my work number comes up as potential spam. Apparently. Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm looking into what's that?
Teams problems.
Teams problems. Yeah, I'm looking into some sort of like spam call text message blocker because I'm done with it. All right, where are we at time? I just
block every single message.
I just let everything go to voicemail. Like I don't care. We got some time.
Yeah, let it go to voicemail and then I blocked it.
Yeah, there you go.
And then I blocked the number.
Same thing. Joe Biden's approval rating. So this is a good one.
No, this is sad and disappointing. Kind of like Joe Biden's whole presidency. Anyway,
that's right.
A new national news poll by NBC found that Joe Biden's overall job approval rating had declined to 40%, the lowest level of his presidency. The survey also found that Republicans enjoyed a 2-point lead when people answered which party should control Congress ahead of November's midterm elections. Now, don't be fooled. They control Congress right now. There's a couple of these people in there. Anyway, I'm not going to say nothing. You know what I'm going to say. So, amid Europe's largest land war since World War II, 7 in 10 Americans expressed low confidence in President Biden's ability to deal with Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and 8 of 10 voiced worry that the war will increase and prices will go up, and there may even be nuclear weapons involved. Now, The saddest part of all is that according to Ballotpedia, in the same week of their presidential terms, Joe Biden and Donald Trump had almost identical approval ratings.
Wah,
So,
wah, wah. There it is.
like, so here's what I will say about Joe Biden. Now, Joe Biden, like from a what is the word that I'm looking for? Kind of from a demeanor standpoint, is giving people what they wanted. He's not out there every day like talking about how great he is and like doing whatever. But he's not acting on anything, which I think is disenfranchising the, Democratic vote. And then the Republicans are just out here hammering him on stuff that's probably not his fault, but their base just gets riled up anyway. Like all of the gas stations in the suburbs here have these little stickers of Joe Biden that says, I did that with the gasoline, right? Like
Yeah.
it's all of the like misinformation circus that they always blame on the media when like half of what is being touted there is misinformation.
Yeah.
This doesn't surprise me, but I don't know how to fix it, right? How do we fix this, Skonzii? What can we as citizens do? Put pressure on our government to fix it.
Well, like nothing's gonna fix it because these people are only out there. See, I didn't say the A word because that's what I wanted to say. These people, they're just out for their own good, right? Like they speak a good game, and then you and I have had this conversation offline a bit. Like, of course, I voted for Joe Biden over, oh my God, there's so many words I want to say. Trump. I'll just say Trump.
Why are you not saying them?
There's a lot of reasons why. There's a lot of reasons why I did that, right? The thing is, a lot of the reasons why I did that, none of them are coming to fruition because Biden ain't doing any of it, right? Like he's not doing any of the crap that he said he was going to do. So why the hell do I care what you like? Of course, I would give him a negative freaking approval rating. On top of that, like to your point, he gets hammered by everything from the right, which you would expect. And like we did that all with Trump too when he was in office. He was a little bit more of a babbling idiot, but not night and day. The inflation issue that everybody's dealing with, prices are through the goddamn roof. Again, I just want to remind everybody that pretty much every business in the country is making record profits because it's not inflation, it's price gouging. You got the war that's happening, the whole Ukraine-Russia thing. There's no way you can get a win out of that. So, like about the only thing that he's got kind of a positive mark on is the COVID thing, that we've kind of gotten to a point where, COVID's kind of under control. And I don't know that was necessarily him doing it. I think any semi-sane person, because that's the best I could really say about Joe Biden, would have gotten us to this point. Like the only reason that we wouldn't have gotten here with Trump is because he's not semi-sane. So like he hasn't really done anything. Like how could he have a good approval rating?
Yep. I mean,
he just nods. The biggest takeaway for me is the fact that this idiot has an approval rating that's basically Donald Trump, who is like the worst president to ever be president. So that is saying something.
It is. And so we could talk all day about the faults of the Democratic Party, right? Like
we could.
Don't want to hear that. But really, it's like as the leader, like he needs to put pressure on the party to do some things that they're not doing because he can't just sign all of this stuff into law himself. But, Congress is over here like, here, let's make this mega bill. It's like back in, The Office when Dwight was like, I'm going to make Megadesk. Like, nobody wants Megadesk. Like, Megadesk was awesome. Don't hear what I'm not saying. But when it comes to a bill, we don't need a mega bill. We need all of these small little bills to come through one by one. And then you need to make those representatives who want to vote against those things vote against that one singular bill. Because then you take that back to their communities and you say, hey, did you know that your guy voted against this? This is something that would have helped you. And it wasn't part of a 16-ton bill where he can go, well, I don't want to vote for it because you're going to make me eat plants. or whatever, like instead of eating meat so that we can have a bigger environment, right? Like make them vote on each single line item and call them out on it.
So I'm there with you. And again, we could turn this into a huge conversation about what's wrong with our political system. Spoiler alert, it's basically everything. But that's not what we're here for. Let's spin the wheel and see if we can make Emily happy.
Hello, Emily.
We're not going to make her happy with this one. We're going to talk about PitchCom. I don't know what that is. It kind of sounds like some weird sci-fi show or something.
So PitchCom, in MLB's continued effort to curtail sign stealing and a stalled pace of play, MLB has provided pitchers and catchers with a new tool to try. PitchCom is an encrypted pitch calling system that involves the pitcher and the catcher wearing a small piece of technology. The catcher wears a wristband with a series of buttons, and the pitcher wears a small speaker in the band of their cap that announces the pitch and the pitch location. For the 2022 season, PitchCom is optional. So far, it's getting good reviews from those who have tried it. Brewers bullpen catcher Adam Weisenberger used it to communicate with veteran pitcher Josh Lindblom during some recent mound work, and Lindblom offered his endorsement of the technology. Lindblom says that it's like having Siri in your ear. He says that it is different for some, so he thinks there will be resistance and a learning curve, but what he likes about it is that he had the pitch and knew exactly what his catcher was thinking before he came in contact with the rubber on the mound. So I thought that this was interesting, right? Because MLB keeps saying, oh, we need pace of play. Oh, we need to do blah, 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 blah. We need to stop people from stealing signs. We need to take away all the trash cans and whatever it is that they're going to say, right? But
yeah.
So I have two thoughts on this. One is this is kind of cool. Two is you don't think people are just going to figure out how to steal this? Like, it's kind of interesting, right? So think about it this way. It's like this Apple Watch that I'm wearing here, except that there's like buttons. So I think I saw a picture of it. It was like buttons like 1 through 9, and then there's like an up arrow and a down arrow and whatever. So as the catcher's like, do you think somebody's not just going to watch and go, oh, he plucked 1, 3, 6, 4, and then he did that. And then Corbin Burns threw a slider. So we know that something in that combination, 1, 3, 6, and 4, and this is a slider. Like, people are going to figure that out. Like, I don't think you're ever really going to get to a point where people aren't going to figure out how to steal signs. Because again, people be shiesty. They just want to try to get any shortcut that they can get. But I think that it's kind of cool that you can do the thing in the cap where it's like fastball up and away instead of, again, sighted world people making this pitcher look between some dude's legs where he's like 2, 4, 6, 9, 10, thumbs up, thumbs down, right? Like, I feel like this is definitely more accessible. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I don't think it's going to be an issue with a batter looking and seeing what's being pressed on the thing. Now, it's possible maybe they'll use cameras to take a look at that and say, oh, he's pressed 1, 2, 3, 4, right? The batter's not going to be able to do that, so I think that's fine. I think it's kind of a cool idea, but here was my first question, right? Because they talk about how, Rob Manfred's everybody's favorite asshole is he really wants to speed up pace of play, right? Pace of play, pace of play, pace of play. So what happens when Corbin Burns gets that message in his ear that says fastball down and in, and he's gets to the mound and then shakes him off? Oh well, shit! Now we gotta do this one. Curveball out and over the plate. He shakes him off. Oh fuck! Let me do this one. Like, it's gonna take 12 minutes for a guy to throw a fucking pitch. Like, come on, this is so stupid. Like, it's dumb. I'm choking now.
Well, I think some of it is going to be like MLB is probably going to like try. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to curtail some of the like, oh, well, you have to like stop calling off your pitch like your catcher. Your catcher says fastball, throw the fastball.
No, I mean, they may try to do that at some point, but if you think they've gotten pushed back so far, like, people would lose their mind. Because what's going to happen if you're Corbin Burns and you're standing up there and you want to throw a fastball when your catcher calls a curveball? Are you going to throw the curveball? Because I think a lot of pitchers would just throw the damn fastball. That's what I said. That's what I want to throw. Like, it's a partnership here, right? So they're going to run into issues there. I think the other thing is, I guarantee if they go through with this, every team is going to hire a 20-year-old freckle-faced kid who smokes marijuana to figure out how to hack this goddamn thing.
Yeah, well, that was one of the things. So, two thoughts on this. One, I think some of what you're talking about is going to be the pitch clock thing, where they're like, you got 15 seconds to throw this ball from when we throw it to you. So you can't shake off your catcher, because if you don't throw this ball within 15 seconds, like, it's a ball or whatever. So I think that's kind of where they're starting to get with some of this too. But I agree with you. That was one of the things that I was talking with my father-in-law about that, and we were making the joke. Yeah, they're going to go to St. Louis, and all of a sudden over the big speaker is going to say, fastball, up and in. Like, they're just going to hack it and, like, broadcast it over the loudspeaker.
Well, I mean, Zach Greinke did that. What was it, last year? When he just yelled at the catcher or whatever. I'm going to throw a fastball. Then he threw the pitch, and he got the guy to fly out. It was amazing. All right, we are at 46 minutes, so I think it's probably time to wrap up. Do you want to throw your challenge flag on anything?
Let's see, what do we got on this wheel? I know what you probably want to throw your challenge. Like, no. Like, there's nothing in here that I'm like super. I know you probably want to talk about Will Smith and Chris Rock, but I am definitely not throwing my challenge flag on that, so that's all you.
Emily wants us to talk about it. I'm letting Emily throw a challenge flag.
All right.
Is that what we're going to go with? All
right.
I'm
going to lay out. What you got?
No,
I'll tell you about it.
Tell us about it. Some people might not know what this is about.
So, during the 2022 Oscars, comedian Chris Rock was presenting an award, taking time to crack a few jokes along the way. One joke was at the expense of Jada Pinkett Smith's appearance. Chris Rock's joke made reference to Pinkett Smith's hair matching Demi Moore's shaved head in the movie G.I. Jane. Pinkett Smith had previously disclosed struggles with hair loss, leading to the decision to shave her head. Pinkett Smith's husband, Will Smith, initially laughed at Chris Rock's joke. Upon noticing that his wife was not laughing, Smith walked on stage and approached Chris Rock and smacked him in front of the audience and the millions watching at home. Once Smith walked back to his seat, Smith said to Rock in a very loud voice, "Keep my wife's name out your bleeping mouth." So this was like the whole thing on the internet, and like everybody's got their conspiracy theories, and they want to talk about it, and they want to make it a big deal. And then, Will Smith doesn't get kicked out, and he goes up and he accepts an award, and he does this like really rambly speech where he apologizes to everybody except for Chris Rock. And then he puts out an apology the next day, talking about how he was in the wrong, and how he apologized to Chris Rock, and how it's not good to be violent. And me, I'm sitting over here, Mr. WrestleMania, watching wrestling all the time. I'm like, dude, this got to be fake, right? Because like he really sold that like he was getting, the slap from like the Rock. But I don't know. Like, to me, this is just, I don't like it. It's just like it's not worth my time or energy. Like, I said this when we did the Devin Williams thing, right? I've never been angry enough in my life or drunk enough to punch a wall. I've also been never angry enough at a comedian to walk up and slap the comedian. So, like, it's difficult for me to understand how, like, you go from laughing at this joke to, like, walking up and slapping somebody.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of angles to this, right? And so first of all, was this a real situation or was it a bit? And I still think it was a bit. I think I agree. Like, the dude was laughing, like full out laughing. And then he goes from that to so pissed off, he's going to walk up and assault somebody on national TV while you're there to potentially accept an award as like the, fourth black man ever to win best actor, something like that. Also, the slap looked really weird. And he was smiling. He was grinning when he walked away. So the whole thing seemed like a bit. But We'll never know. So let's just assume it was legitimate, right? There's a lot of people that I had words with over the course of the last few days who very strongly believe that this was the right thing to do, that Will Smith needs to protect his family. Now, his family wasn't in any fucking trouble, but that's where people are at. You need to protect your family. There's a whole lot of women who very strongly believe, yes, you need to stand up for your woman. I can understand that. Some people have turned it into black versus white, and I don't understand how that falls into any of this. But here's where I draw the line. You do not escalate it to violence. That is where you are 100% absolutely dead wrong. Get pissed? Yes. I mean, I've even been okay with him yelling the way that he did afterwards, right? Like if he wants to yell, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth from the audience, I'm 100% there for that.
Okay with that, right? You have words on words, right?
But you escalated this to violence, and that is 100% wrong. Like that's where the line is drawn. I understand that people want to get angry. Like I had a situation at my house this weekend where some criminal kind of stuff happened. I'm okay. Everything's okay. But I will guarantee you that when that happened, I was ready to do some of the worst violence that you can imagine. Like I was there. And after the fact and everything kind of calmed down, I'm like, what would that solve? Like as much as I want that to happen in a way, it doesn't solve anything. And then if you look at this situation, it's even less so, right? Escalating to violence is not the frickin' answer. And that's the problem I have.
Yeah, and it like this feels very like old school to me, like back in the day, like almost like the duel thing, right? Where like back in the, I don't even know, what was that, like the 1800s, 1700s, 1500s? I don't even know. Where like you would walk up to somebody with a glove and like slap them in the face, and then like that's how you settle this. Like I'm gonna challenge you to a duel, and then you like slap somebody in the face with his glove or whatever, right?
Right.
Like that's very much what this kind of seems like to me. And I feel like, again, there's a better way to handle this. Like if you are literally upset, and this is why I have so many questions about this. Like I want to know, what kind of relationship do they have? Like, do they know each other? Do they not know each other?
Right.
Does Chris Rock know the situation about her hair? Or is he just like, she a bald woman now, so I'm going to make this joke? Because there have been other, famous, popular bald women in, black culture and history, right? So, it like those are pieces that are, this is, if we were doing the good old Reddit, am I the asshole?
Right.
More information is needed here to like.
I don't know. Will Smith is the
asshole in this situation.
100%.
But there's still more information needed to decide if everyone is the asshole here,
right,
or if it's just Will Smith, right?
Yeah. So Emily points out another angle to that is it was a joke, right? That's his job, to go up there and tell jokes.
Right. Yes.
And here's the thing: has anybody? I feel like I'm the only person in the world who is, because I don't watch this shit live because it's stupid and I don't want to watch any of it. But am I the only person in the world that has seen clips of Ricky Gervais at the Emmys? I swear I'm the only person that's seen that. This dude trashes people. Like, I mean, destroys them. Like the worst. Like, I can't believe this guy still has a job, and they keep bringing him back time and time again. Like, he tears people apart. What Chris Rock did was nothing compared to that, right? And right. If you are at an award show, that's going to happen. If you are a multi-millionaire, and you're sitting in the front row, you are world famous, you are up for Best Actor, guess what? You're going to get joked on. That's just the way it works. Now, I think where some people are having issues is because she has a medical condition. I get that. Mm-hmm. And there's a concern that maybe he knew this, or whoever it was that wrote the joke knew this. Like, yes, it's very possible this was just a very, very horrible joke that's punching down at somebody, which is never okay. If I was there and somebody made a fat joke about me, I'm going to be pissed. I might throw my chair in their direction and tell them to shut the fuck up. But I'm not going to walk up on stage and assault somebody. Like, that's too goddamn far, right? That's not what you do.
Right.
So like
well,
there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions. And here's the thing. And this is the angle that this is why I wanted to talk about this. Everybody has an agenda. Like maybe agenda is a very strong word, but everybody has a point of view. Everybody has an angle that they look at things. They have certain things they care about, certain things they're passionate about, right? And what I see is everybody is twisting this into their own point of view, right? So there's people who have alopecia, I think it is, that's the autoimmune disease that she has, and they're yelling from the rooftops that, oh my God, you can't make fun of somebody that has this. And then you got people who are saying, you know, this black women have struggled for too long, and you need to stand up for every black woman, which I get. I'm okay with that. And then you got people saying, oh, but it's just a comedian. He's just telling jokes. And then you got other people who are saying, you know what? You got to protect your family. They're in trouble. You need to do what you need to do. Like everybody has an angle. And everybody's just yelling from the rooftops about whatever their little specific angle is, even if it's got nothing to do with nothing. Like one tweet I saw is like, oh, I'm done with having white people tell me how black people should act. This has nothing to do with white and black. It could have been Chris Christopherson slapping Willie Nelson upside his face. I don't give a shit. You don't escalate it to violence. I don't care what color you are. You can be purple up there. You don't do that. But again, that's the angle that individual person is pushing for whatever reason. That's what they care about. And that's what everybody's turning this into. And that's why it's like, you have one dude who told a bad joke and made fun of somebody, which he shouldn't have done. You have another guy that punched him in the face, which he shouldn't have done. And so everybody's an asshole. That's where I'm at. Let's just move on.
Like, and that was all right. Well, then that's fine. I was going to talk about it, but we'll just move on.
No, go ahead and say your piece. I'm just saying, like, as a country, let's fucking move on. I'm done talking about this shit.
Yeah, it's just that whole, like, I don't even remember what I was going to say now. Like, I was just like, all right, fine, I'll shut it down. Yeah, it's just like, I just shake my head at this whole thing because, like, the comment that I made to you, that's what I was going to say. Like, when you had messaged me about this, the first comment that I said was, do we just not have comedy anymore? Like, if people are going to be like this straight up, like, sensitive about things, do we just not have comedy anymore? Like, there's, you know, again, is it a bad joke? Probably. You know, that's why we need more information. But
yeah, like like you don't punch down. Like that's one of the big things, right? You don't punch down. If there was somebody there in a wheelchair, would he have made a comment about, hey, I guess you're not going to star in that movie next year about Jackie Joyner Kersee? Like,
right,
dude, like you'd get a shit ton of boos, right? That's a stupid. You can't say that. That's dumb.
Yeah,
and that's basically what he did. So don't punch down.
Right,
it's that simple. Because when you're doing that, you're going to be the asshole. And it just so happens that Will Smith made himself a bigger asshole.
Are they the We Random?
The We Random.
Are we going to use that drop?
Of the week. Will Smith, congratulations. You are the main dick of the week. Chris Rock, congratulations on being the sub dick of the week.
All right. So now that we've done that, Emily, hopefully we have appeased you with our takes on that. And now
she did say she wanted us to yell about it, and we did. So yeah, what are we doing, B?
All right. We are going to move to everyone's favorite topic, random rankings. So, as we've already alluded to, there are some best days on the sports calendar. So, what Skonzii and I are going to do is we are going to draft the best days of the sports calendar. Will one of us draft MLB Opening Day? Will one of us draft Game 7? Will one of us draft the NFL trade deadline? Or will Landmark draft the MASL Ron Newman Cup Championship? Listen and continue watching to find out!
Dun, dun, dun. Oh, wait, I got one of those.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, I think, are we going to do a thing where you can only pick one? Are we going to do that thing? And it's kind of, we're going to see who has the better list or something?
Let's just, like, if you pick it, like, I'm not going to pick it. Let's just pick lists and then we can compile. Because really, there's only, like, there's only one 101 in this list. So we're just picking for fun. And then if we.
No, not the Olympics.
Play our friend, Mr. Zeke Elliott. You know which one. No.
Oh,
Not
not that
one.
one? Oh, you mean this one?
That was one of the stupidest things that
Now
I've
we're just
ever
playing
seen
drops.
anybody post
Well, which
on
one
the
do you want?
internet before.
I want our favorite friend, the old bad person.
Oh, I don't have him on. Oh, that's on a different sheet. I don't have that on here.
Okay, well
I'll have to
anyway.
move it over.
Cool. So, do we want to do the randomizer to see who gets to draft first?
No, I think you can go first.
All right. So, when we think about my favorite days on the sports calendar, there are lots of options to consider, but I'm going to be a jerk. So, I am going to be the wee random of the week because I am going to take MLB Opening Day.
Okay.
So that is a date that I always look forward to because generally, in pre-pandemic times and times when my work isn't going kaboom and our whole lives aren't going kaboom, I normally would get to spend MLB Opening Day with a great group of friends, hanging out, watching baseball. And that's a really good day for me.
I'm drinking too many Jell-O shots. Yeah, I agree. I think maybe puking all over the place. I'm just saying that
One time.
MLB Opening Day is great. And it sucks that we're not going to that again. I mean, like, whatever, in the near term. Yeah, I really like Opening Day. So I'm going to kind of cozy up next to this and have NFL opening whatever weekend.
Okay.
I don't even know if... Yeah, I guess NFL. I'm kind of tossed and turned between NFL and NCAA football, but it's just like football is gone for so long that when it shows up, it's like, oh, this is great. Like by the time MLB comes around, it's a different feeling for me. It's like, hey, the Packers let us down again because Aaron Rodgers was crap in the playoffs and they fumbled away what should have been a Super Bowl win. And now at least we can like literally everybody has the number on hand. As soon as the Packers lose, boop, hey, we only got 17 days,
38 days,
whatever. It's just an annual tradition. Whereas with the NFL, it's like there's no expectations the Brewers are going to do anything because they have like a third of the payroll of half the teams in the league. So, but when the NFL comes, it's like, okay, I'm ready for it.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense. So we got MLB Opening Day, we got NFL Opening Weekend. Now, I am going to choose another NFL related day.
Well, it's got to be the big one, right?
NFL Thanksgiving Day.
Oh, okay.
So, one of the reasons that I like NFL Thanksgiving Day is you got football all day. Now, you used to have 2 games, now you have 3.
Yep.
The games aren't always very good. But you turn that television set on at 11 o'clock, you get together with people that you love, you eat until your stomach hurts, and you watch Jared Goff throw interceptions. Yeah, baby!
Yeah, I think that's another good one. The best dates on the sport. Well, I'm just gonna put the Super Bowl here because it's always a big one. Like even if the Packers aren't playing, which most of the time they're not because they screw up and don't make it. It's a time when I've had a Super Bowl get together for the last God knows how many years, and it's a small get together, but we have a good time, and now we have a new food tradition, which I'm excited about moving forward. It's just always a good time, and like the game is second to the get together. Actually, it's third behind the get together and the commercials, but it's still a good time.
All right, so this is where we kind of go into an interesting situation because I wasn't even thinking about the Super Bowl, but that's actually a really good one. Now, I am going to pick a day that is the MLB. Are you going to work? No, you're not going to work anymore.
You're in the wrong
there
spot.
We go. MLB trade deadline.
Yeah.
So I love trade deadlines, right?
Yep.
Like, you hear all the hubbub, you see all the stuff, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, the Brewers are in the mix for this guy or that guy, and then, like, it's at 2 p.m., so it's, like, in the middle of your work day,
Right.
and you're trying to work, but you keep, like, checking John Heyman and, like, all these people's Twitter, trying to figure out what's going on. Like, MLB trade deadline's a great day.
Yeah. Does it have to be an individual day? Like,
so it's like an event, right? So you might, like, if you were drafting, like, NFL free agency or, like, the first day of the NCAA tournament. Okay, rivalry weekend.
I'm going to say
okay.
NCAA football rivalry weekend, which they have, like, the one rivalry weekend, which I don't think it's really a rivalry because for Nebraska, they're playing Iowa, and who gives a fuck about Iowa? It's generally whenever we play the Badgers. That's the big one. But just like for whatever reason, I get more amped up for college football than I do the NFL. Like I don't know what it is about it. I get so excited when the weather starts to get cool. I open up all the windows, right, and it starts to cool off in the house. And then, Nebraska starts their pregame show like 8 hours before the game starts. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. You can wake up and they probably got the pregame show on. So I got the pregame show blasting through the house, and it's just something exciting about that.
Yeah. So I will go with, this is a good, see, I have one that I know I'm going to take, and you're probably going to fight me on it, but I'm going to save that for number 6.
Oh, okay.
Well, because I know it's something that you're never going to take, so
right,
I don't have to worry about you taking it. But, so I've got MLB, NFL, and MLB, right? So I am going to choose the NBA playoffs. The reason for that is basketball's cool, right? So I really like the NBA playoffs, and I would probably the NBA finals. Let's do that, right? Because it really doesn't get good until the finals anyway.
Fair.
So, and last year it was kind of the best of all worlds because our team, the Milwaukee Bucks, were in the finals. Yeah. But I'm going to take the NBA finals.
I mean, I cared a lot more when Tim Duncan was in the finals, but anymore, not so much. So this is a very personal one. It's Black Friday. There's not a lot of sports events where it's like I'm really amped up and I really want to watch it. Like the Super Bowl is one. NFL opening weekend is a big one. Even NCAA rivalry weekend is not one, but Black Friday is one. Every year, it's just kind of my thing because every year on Black Friday, Nebraska plays their rivalry game. It used to be Oklahoma, which was amazing. Now it's fucking Iowa. Nobody gives a shit, but still, it's just kind of the thing. Most people think Black Friday and it's, I need to buy another TV because I only got 17 of them. Like, I don't give a shit about any of that. I care about Nebraska, Iowa. And so Black Friday is always a big, like it's as much as, we talk about Thanksgiving, how great that is, right? You get all your food and you eat all day watching NFL games. Well, for me, the more exciting day is the day after when I get to eat all the leftovers and I get to watch Nebraska. And as an introvert, I'm probably doing it alone, which makes me very happy.
All right. So for my last 2 picks, I'm going to take things that Skonzii will never take. So he can have the NCAA tournament and all these other fun things, right? So I am going to take the Milwaukee Wave home opener. So
I was going to take that.
I'm in Milwaukee. No, you weren't. I mean, you might have. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe I've converted you from like the 7 times I made you watch our old friend Name Redacted. Yes, I made you watch our old friend on the big screen. But like, I love the Milwaukee Wave home opener because that season ends in April, and then their season typically starts like end of November, December. So it's been a long grind, and like half the time the roster's not the same, and you got to get to know all the new people, and sometimes you nickname one of them Slapnuts. But so that's what I got.
All right, I'm going to go kind of out on a limb here because I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. I might be missing something. But again, one of those things that I actually will sit down and watch, or at least kind of skim through, which is something. And that is the Olympics opening. I can't spell and type and talk at the same time.
Opening ceremony.
Yes. That's close enough. You know what I mean. Yeah, the Olympics opening ceremony. I love that. I love that they're sharing the stories of all the different countries and the athletes. And, you get those countries that have that one person, and the only reason that they were able to afford to come was because someone sold shoes on the side of the road to afford their ticket, whatever. Like, I love that shit. Like, I love it. And you've got, while there are a lot of these people who are financially pretty secure because they get advertising and all that kind of stuff. A lot of this is just normal, regular, everyday people who are busting their ass to get a shot at the Olympics, and this is like their one opportunity. And I just think it's great. I love it. And the fact that it comes once every 4 years, basically, or potentially every 2 years, right? Because winter and summer Olympics. It's one of those things where even if I just kind of skip through and watch, 15, 20 seconds, skip ahead 30 seconds, watch a couple seconds, whatever, I will always make sure I make time to catch some of that.
All right. So now here's the one that Skonzii's going to fight me on. He's probably not going to let me have it, but I'm going to put it in here anyway. WrestleMania weekend. So I watch professional wrestling. That I mean, I just watch the pay-per-views on Peacock at this point.
Oh, it's true.
But
it's damn true.
But the events that I really get kind of like excited for are WrestleMania and the Royal Rumble. And that's all kind of in the same sequence, right? Because WrestleMania is typically, they always say that WrestleMania is kind of like the end of the chapter and then the next chapter starts for that year. So it's kind of fun to like have that culmination of stories. Oftentimes they bring back some of the older wrestlers, or they do like the title changes where, oh, now it's your time to be the champion, that kind of stuff. So WrestleMania is always one of those weekends that I look forward to. And this year it is 2 nights.
Oh, dang.
But
might have to,
unfortunately,
might have to turn it on the big screen, B.
I know. I mean, we do have plans to get together for one of the WrestleMania days. So
I mean, we can just make it 2. We can make that happen.
Well, what we can do is, because I have a Wave game the night before, but we can just watch night 1 on Peacock before night 2 starts.
There you go. That might
8
be the
hours
deal.
of WrestleMania, baby.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Now, the one thing that I do want to say is we said that these are sports dates, and WrestleMania is
Sports
wrestling, which is not a sport.
Sports entertainment.
And before you try to respond,
It doesn't matter what you think.
so I am going to say the one thing, especially considering the time of year it is right now, I can't believe none of us put on the best date of the entire sports calendar.
March Madness.
Pitchers and catchers report.
Yep.
Like, that's just a day. It's like, that's when you know spring is coming. That's when you know that life's going to be okay, even though the Packers blew another playoff chance. That's when you know that, you're going to be able to walk outside without your face freezing off here in Wisconsin. Like, there's so many positives. Pitchers and catchers reporting. It's just, again, it's like spring. It's kind of for me, the start of football season, the start of baseball season are kind of the big changes of seasons, right? So with baseball, it's all about hope and excitement about, we're moving into the time of year when we can be outside and enjoy life a little bit more. And then with the NFL, it's kind of like, okay, I'm done. I'm sweating my ass off. Now I want to cool down a little bit and have some of that fall weather, which I think a lot of people are big fans of. I know I am. So there we go. That's what I got, B.
Awesome. So I like it. So I took MLB Opening Day, NFL Thanksgiving Day, the MLB Trade Deadline, the NBA Finals, Milwaukee Wave Home Opener, and WrestleMania. Skonzii has NFL's Opening Weekend, the Super Bowl, NCAA Rivalry Weekend, Black Friday, the Olympics Opening Ceremony, and Pitchers and Catchers Reporting. How did you feel about this random rankings there, Skonzii?
I kind of liked it, but I want to get back to one of those brackets that we've done. I want to do one of those. Maybe not the one I sent you earlier, but we need to find a good one of those, I think. But this was fun.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. All right, well, now we are moving to everybody's favorite, the extra point.
There you go.
Skonzii and I have lots of conversations outside of this stream, and one of those conversations involved a string of tweets by an individual who talked about how in 2010 they tried to end their life, but Unfortunately, or fortunately in their case, they were not successful in completing suicide. And they reflected on their experience and they talked about how, because they are still here, they've been able to impact so many people's lives and to start to learn to love themselves and appreciate themselves. And one of the quotes that really stuck out to me was this: people in their darkest moments think that suicide is a way to end the suffering, but it just ensures that suffering was all they got to do. That really kind of punches you in the gut, right? Like, thinking about life, we get one shot at this thing, and whether we're happy, sad, mad, frustrated, angry, disappointed, whatever feelings it is that we have when that one shot at this life is over, those are the feelings that we've had in that life, right? Like, there was another thing that I listened to where it was talking about if you're trying to measure your success and your measuring stick isn't joy, you are wasting your life. And, I think a lot of what we talk about so many times is try to make the best of things, try to maximize your opportunities, but so realize that, like, if you're not feeling okay, it's okay to not feel okay. What we'd also encourage you to do is to try to figure out ways that you can feel better about things, ways that you can get those resources, ways that you can feel motivated and encouraged and to pursue your passions or your dreams or your hopes or your goals or any of those things, because you get one shot at this thing. So whether you're completely miserable the entire time that you're here having this shot at this thing, or you get up every day and you fucking stick a piece of plastic in your eye and you go do the best that you fucking can, like, do what you can, man. We appreciate you. We love you. And that's what I got today, Skonzii. Keep it real, keep it positive. Tell somebody you love them. I love you, Skonzii. What's up with you, brother? Hit me.
It's a good message, B. And for the record, the streamer in question is Sweet Anita. That's who made those tweets. So if you haven't followed her, she's a ton of fun. And yeah, seems like she has a big heart. I wanted to talk about perspective. I had a really, like, I've been, everyone knows I struggle with mental health issues. And last week was rough. Things were kind of piling up, and I hit a point where for a split second, my mind went to the darkest place it could go. And I didn't dwell there. I didn't live there for too long, but I said, you know what? I'm going to take some time off. I took some time off stream. I took the day off on Friday. I was having a great time. And then on Saturday, some bullshit happened here at my place. Some criminals tried to do some stuff. I'm not going to get into details, but it was something that impacted myself and my brother, who was here visiting. And I was I had really turned the corner, like Friday and that first part of Saturday. Like, I was really refreshed. I was feeling good. I had told Brian a couple different times, like, this is exactly what I needed. I'm feeling like I'm moving back on in the direction I need to be. And then this totally sideswiped me. And I was really, really upset and hurt. And I was struggling really hard. And my brother kept saying, look, it sucks, but things could be worse. And I was like, yeah, it could be worse. Like, an asteroid could fall on our fucking heads right now, but this is still horrible. And then yesterday I had a team meeting at work, and it was announced that one of the people on our team had just lost her sister. And I thankfully was not on camera, because I instantly started weeping, like hard weeping. Because that's when it hit me. Like, things could be worse. Like, there's a lot of shit that goes into what happened on Saturday, the way that it impacted us then, the way that it's impacting me now, the way that it's going to continue to impact me moving forward. But things could have been so much worse. My brother's always been my closest friend. We separated a little bit as I moved to the Milwaukee area. But he's always somebody that meant the world to me. He always will. One of my closest confidants. And things could have been a hell of a lot worse. So, perspective. I think it's really important that we all keep Keep things in perspective. And that, even Will Smith, that doesn't impact any of us. Maybe we should just stop talking about Will Smith. Let him be the asshole in silence. But have perspective in our lives. And again, it goes back to what I said earlier. The challenge for this week is tell somebody you love them. Tell someone you care about them. Let somebody know how much they mean to you. Maybe even look to your past. Find that person that made an impact in your life, that changed your entire life. Have you ever told that person that? Maybe it's worth reaching out and letting them know that. Have some perspective and have some appreciation for the people in your life. That's what I'm doing right now. That's what's on my mind, and that's what I want to talk about. And now I want Brian to talk about where you can find us at and all the other fun stuff he talks about.
So, you, loyal viewer, loyal listener, Patreon supporter, you can find us here on Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock on Skonzii's channel on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter at LandmarkMKE. You can find Skonzii on Twitter at Skonzii. You can find us on Twitter, AQ_PROD. You can find us on Facebook. You can find Skonzii on Amazon Sidewalk. You can also find us loving and appreciating you. So each of you who are listening to this, watching this, or supporting us in any way, we love you. We appreciate you. We want you to know that it is not something that we take for granted. We do this as a way to connect with ourselves, but also to connect with you. We really appreciate your feedback. We appreciate your, support, and we will see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.